Raleigh or Charlotte, Charlotte or Raleigh. Which city is the best place to live in North Carolina? If you're considering one of these cities, we're going to break it all down for you up next. I'm Nicholas Newcomer, your favorite North Carolina realtor of all time. I help people buy, sell, and invest in this great state. On today's video, we're going to talk about Raleigh, North Carolina and Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm going to give you a comparison of the two so you can decide where's the best place for you to live. We will hit on the location, population, the feel of each city, the culture, the colleges in each town, sports, things to do in each city, restaurants, shopping, the economy, housing, and transportation. First up on the list we're going to talk about is the location of Raleigh and Charlotte. Raleigh is pretty much located in the dead center of the state of North Carolina. Charlotte is located in the center of the state but along the southern border of North Carolina and closer to the western half of North Carolina. Driving from Raleigh to Charlotte is about a 2.5 hour drive. Charlotte is closer to the mountains, whereas Raleigh is closer to the coast. The closest beach to Raleigh is Wrightsville Beach. It is around a 2-hour drive, and the closest beach to Charlotte is Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Myrtle Beach will take you around a 3.5 hour trip from Charlotte. It will take you 2 hours or a little under to get to the mountains from Charlotte, and 3 hours or so from Raleigh, depending on what part of the mountains you're traveling to. Next up, let's talk about the population. The population of Charlotte is around 865,000. Charlotte ranked 17th largest city in America, where the population in Raleigh is around 462,000. Raleigh ranked 43rd largest city in America. While Charlotte is about double the size of the city of Raleigh, you will have to keep in mind that it's more of a metropolitan area to metropolitan area. So Charlotte, Gastonia, Concord metro area has about 2.6 million people, whereas the Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill Triangle area has 1.6 million people. If you know anybody in the Raleigh area, you know it's basically one big giant city. Charlotte is a bit different, but Raleigh, Durham, Chapel Hill, Cary, Apex is all just one big giant city, and hard to decide where one city ends and the other city begins. Next up, we're going to talk about the vibe and how Raleigh and Charlotte feels. Each city has a very different vibe to it. Charlotte is much more centralized, and their downtown area is actually called Uptown. All in all, Charlotte is much more denser packed, is a much more denser packed city than Raleigh is. Raleigh has a very nice downtown area as well. Although it is not as densely packed as Charlotte, there's still stuff to do in the downtown area, but it's not that big city metropolitan vibe you're gonna get from Charlotte. In Raleigh and the Triangle, where people go to hang out, is much more spread out. As not only downtown Raleigh, but you've got Durham, Chapel Hill, you've got North Raleigh, as well as all the other cities like Cary and Apex and Holly Springs. They all have their own downtowns and places to go. Overall, both Raleigh and Charlotte are great areas. If you want that more big city vibe, Charlotte is probably more where you're looking, whereas if you want a medium-sized city, suburban type atmosphere, Raleigh and the Triangle is probably going to be the best for you. Now we'll talk about the culture. Both cities are changing fast with people moving in from all over the United States and from all over the world. The entire state of North Carolina has a great reputation for Southern hospitality. You're going to meet a lot of nice, generous, and pleasant people, whether you choose Raleigh or Charlotte. Culturally, Raleigh has more of the museums because it is the state capital. It also has a lot more museums that are affiliated with the 3 major universities. Among the prominent museums in the Raleigh area are the North Carolina Museum of Art, the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences, the North Carolina Museum of History, and the Contemporary Art Museum, and many more. Raleigh also has the Duke Center of Performing Arts, as well as the Durham Performing Arts Center in the nearby Durham, where you are going to be able to catch a Broadway style show and lots of really cool shows. Charlotte also has many museums. Among them are the Harvey Gantt Center for African American Arts and the Beckler Museum of Modern Art, the Mint Museum, and the NASCAR Hall of Fame Museum. Charlotte also has the Performing Arts Center, where you're going to be able to catch Broadway Broadway shows also. If you are enjoying this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Next up, we're going to talk about the colleges and universities in the Raleigh and Charlotte area. In the Raleigh area, there are 3 major universities. There are North Carolina State University in Raleigh, UNC Chapel Hill in Chapel Hill, and Duke University in Durham. According to U.S. News, Duke ranked 25th for Best Global University, University of Chapel Hill ranked 41st, and NC State ranked 230th. Raleigh also has Wake Tech Community College. It is the largest community college in the state with around 22,000 students currently enrolled. Charlotte's largest university is UNC Charlotte, part of the UNC system. Also, both cities have a number of community college and liberal arts colleges also. Let's move on to the sports scene in Raleigh and Charlotte. Raleigh has a National Hockey League team called the Carolina Hurricanes. The Carolina Hurricanes play at the RBC Center, and I will say, as a non-hockey fan, it is a great time and very entertaining. In Durham, which is next door to Raleigh, they have a minor league baseball team, the Durham Bulls. Raleigh is a pretty huge college sports town, as you can imagine, with the 3 universities here, and all 3 universities are nationally known for their football, baseball, and basketball teams. People around here take football and basketball very serious. Now in Charlotte, they have the NFL Carolina Panthers and the NBA Charlotte Hornets, as well as a minor league hockey team called the Charlotte Checkers. Charlotte has UNC Charlotte as well as Davidson College, both great schools, but definitely not at the level that you're going to see with UNC Chapel Hill, NC State, and Duke. If you're into professional football or basketball, Charlotte probably wins for you. If you're into professional hockey or a college football, basketball game, the Triangle is probably going to be best for you. However, no matter if you live in Charlotte or Raleigh, they are not too far apart. It's just a 2.5 hour drive between the 2 cities. You can enjoy both if you would like. Next up, let's talk about things to do in Raleigh and Charlotte. Both Raleigh and Charlotte have a lot of things to do and have some really amazing outdoor activities for you and the family to enjoy. Charlotte has the Carowinds Amusement Park, which is located halfway in North Carolina and halfway in South Carolina. They have a place in the park you can stand in both states. Charlotte has the Whitewater Center where you can participate in several outdoor activities. Charlotte has Lake Norman, Lake Wiley, and Freedom Park. Charlotte's downtown is a gorgeous walkable area with lots of things you can get into. You can catch a sporting event, go to a bar, restaurant, and the museums. Just about anything you can imagine doing, you can do downtown. Raleigh has a North Carolina State Fair. The State Fair brings people from all over the state in the fall of the year. It is a huge event as well. If you've never been to the State Fair, it is a must go to. Some people go just to eat some of the craziest food. Raleigh has the State Farmers Market, which operates 7 days a week and is a great place to get vegetables, fruits, plants, just about anything you could need. Raleigh also has a number of parks and greenways, with Pullen Park and Umstead Park with an easy driving distance of anyone in the Raleigh area. I've talked about Umstead Park and Pullen Park in detail in my Raleigh's pros and cons video. I will link it in the description below. In Durham, next door to Raleigh at Duke University, is the Sarah P. Duke Garden. Sarah P. Gardens is on 55 acres with specialized gardens for you to enjoy. More than 600,000 visitors from all over the world visit the Sarah P. Duke Gardens every year. Durham has a really cool downtown area we've talked about before. A huge happening food scene happening in Durham also. I will link my video on Durham in the description below. It goes over all the good food in Durham. Raleigh also has plenty of outdoor spaces, including the Falls Lake recreation area where you can go boating, hiking on 25 miles worth of trails, fishing and swimming. Raleigh also has over 112 miles of trail for biking, hiking, running, jogging, whatever you enjoy doing. Downtown Raleigh isn't as large as Charlotte's downtown, but there are still lots of fun things to do, like bars, restaurants, and some nice museums to check out. Both cities have a ton of things to do, parks and activities for the family. I personally don't think there is one better than the other. Next up, we're going to talk about the restaurant scene in each city. Now, both cities are in the South, so you can count on getting your Southern cuisine like fried chicken, barbecue, collard greens, mac and cheese, and all the other delicious things that are made here in the South. However, both cities are growing, which leads to the variety of food that is offered as well. You can find any kind of cuisine you can imagine can be found in both Raleigh and Charlotte. Also, because of all that growth, several celebrity chefs and award-winning chefs make Raleigh home and have really improved the scene. Food halls also have become very popular in both cities. In Charlotte, you have the 7th Street Public Market and Optimus Hall. In Raleigh, you have Morgan Street Food Hall and the Transfer Food Hall. Now we're going to touch on the shopping in Raleigh and Charlotte. We'll start with grocery stores. Both cities have a ton of really great grocery stores, including Harris Teeter, Lowe's Foods, Food Line, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, and just about any other grocery store you can imagine. Mall-wise, Charlotte has South Park Mall, which is a nice mall that has a Louis Vuitton, Tiffany, and a lot of other really high-end stores. Raleigh, however, has two primary malls, Crabtree Valley Mall in Raleigh and South Point Mall in Durham, where a lot of really nice stores are as well, but just not as many of the high-end stores that you're going to find at South Park. Moving on to the job opportunities in Raleigh and Charlotte. Both Charlotte and Raleigh are booming areas with plenty of job opportunities. Charlotte is the #2 largest banking center in the entire United States, just behind New York City. Of course, banking is one of their primary industries, with employers like Bank of America, Wells Fargo, and many, many more. Raleigh is known for the Research Triangle Park, also called the Silicon Valley of the East. RTP is the largest research park in the United States. RTP has hundreds of different companies in areas such as science, technology, government, biology, academic institutions, and healthcare, and the list goes on and on. The biggest employers are IBM, Cisco, Fidelity Investments, and many more. The Raleigh economy is more diverse and therefore is more likely to weather the storm of an economic downturn than Charlotte. Since Charlotte is more dependent on banking, overall both cities have a similar unemployment rate, with the per capita income of Raleigh being slightly higher than that of Charlotte. Raleigh unemployment rate is around 2.8% and Charlotte is around 3.2%. Moving on to the affordability of the housing. Both Raleigh and Charlotte have been crazy real estate markets right now. Just like most of the country, there are a lot of people moving from out of state to come to both Raleigh and Charlotte. The current median home price for a home in Charlotte is $385,000, whereas the current median home price for a home in Raleigh is $412,000. Typically, homes in Raleigh cost more than homes in Charlotte, but with the way the housing market has been going lately, it's been a little bit topsy-turvy, but overall the trend is generally that homes cost more in Raleigh. Next up, we'll talk about transportation. Both cities have fairly similar traffic and transportation issues going on right now. Because of the massive growth they have been experiencing in both cities, traffic is getting worse, and in fact it may be worse than you expect, depending on where you're coming from. Now, it's not as bad as Los Angeles or New York, but if you are coming from a small town, it's definitely going to be worse. Charlotte has a light rail system, which makes it a lot easier to get around the city. Raleigh, however, does not have a light rail system, so you're going to need a car to travel around the Raleigh area. Raleigh and Charlotte are also connected by a train. You can hop on the Amtrak and travel between the two. Charlotte has the Charlotte Douglas International Airport, which is one of the busiest airports in the world. The airport has approximately 178 non-stop destinations. Raleigh has the Raleigh-Durham International Airport with over 57 non-stop destinations. Next, let's talk about the ratings Niche.com gave each city. Charlotte gets an overall ranking of an A. Charlotte received an B+ for public schools, B- for housing, A- for families, B+ for jobs, C for crime and safety, and A+ for diversity. Charlotte also ranked 22nd for most diverse city in America, 32nd for best cities to live in America, 41st for best cities to raise a family. Raleigh received an overall ranking of an A+. Raleigh also received an A for public schools, B for housing, A- for jobs, B- for cost of living, and C+ for crime and safety. Raleigh also came in 16th for best cities to buy a house in America, 17th for best cities to live in America, and 18th for best cities to raise a family in America. So which city is the best place to live? Well, it really depends. If you're looking for a big city vibe, then Charlotte's probably a good place for you. If you're looking more for a spread out, mid-sized city, suburban vibe, then Raleigh and the Raleigh area is probably the best fit for you. Let me know in the comments below, which is a better fit for you. If you enjoy this video, hit the like button, and to see more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button. I release new videos every Friday. If you have any questions or looking to buy, sell, or invest in the area, call or text me at 336-266-8976 or email me at nicholas.newcomer@exprealty.com. I hope you have seen some value in this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.